I'm Linda from paperboutique.blogspot.com. Today I'm making this expandable card box. There are other videos on YouTube on how to make card boxes. My box is different in that it uses inserts instead of twine, and it also uses regular cardstock. Be sure to check out Danny's design blog if you would like to make a card box without inserts that uses twine on the sides. Well, let's get going and assemble our box. I just last week got a Scorpel and I love it. So I'm just gonna show you briefly. Also, the measurements are going to be on my blog, www.paperboutique.blogspot.com. So if you need to refer back to my blog for the measurements. First, you're going to take a 12-inch piece of paper by 7.5 inches. You're going to line up the 12-inch side and you're going to score it on the 2.5, 5, and 10.5 inches. And then on the pieces I'm going to bring in, you'll notice that there'll be grain lines. What you want to do is you want your folds to be parallel to the grain. Paper will fold two different ways, and this is the hard way, and this folds easier. You want to make sure your folds are parallel so that when you're folding them, especially with the accordion, they're not going to crack. Okay, so we've got I'm going to move my square out. We've got our 12 by 7.5 piece. Next, you're going to cut an 8 by 7.5 inch piece. You're going to line up the 8 inches across the top. You're going to score 2.5 inches. You're going to cut one of those. Then you're going to cut two pieces, 6 by 5 1/4. You're going to line up the 6 at the top, score every 1/2 inch all the way across. And once again, you want to make sure that you fold that going parallel to the grain so the accordion sides do not crack. And then lastly, you're going to cut 5 of these. These are going to be your insert pieces. They're 7.5 by 5 1/4. And I cut these going perpendicular to the grain rather than going with the grain, so they just be a little firmer. You don't have to do that. It doesn't matter as much with the insert pieces. Well, let's go ahead and assemble the box. The first thing that you're going to do is obviously score on all of the, or fold on all of the score lines, and you'll have your long piece, and then you'll have your other piece where you folded at the 2.5 inch line. And what I've done is I've just taken mine, and you will put, for this project, I'm going to use my, just my tape roller, but I would recommend that when you're doing it that you use something like the Wonder tape, which is much heavier, or a glue stick. So I would put a couple pieces right here, and then I would line it up so that they line up exactly, and then once you fold it, there's the outside of your box. And I'm going to bring this in, and as you can see, that is what I've done. Here's the smaller piece glued on top of the larger piece. Now at this point I would go ahead and do my decorative insert, or my decorative pieces. This piece is 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. The top is, this is 7 1/4 by 2 1/4, and the strip I used across is 3/4 of an inch wide by 7 1/4 inch long. The paper that I'm using for the box is Basil. This is Can Company paper, and the flower is Basic Gray from Urban Prairie. Okay, now that we have the shell put together, comes a little bit more of the challenging piece. The paper that you have scored every 1/2 inch, you're going to accordion fold. You'll start up and then back, and then up and back. The stronger that you crease this paper, the better your end result will be, so I would go ahead and crease it a couple of times. I'm going to lay this here so you can actually see. The front's going to be a little bit different than the back in that you're going to have your little front flap here, then there will not be any glue or tape here, then you're going to glue here, glue, 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 and the back will just have a flat piece here. And keep in mind that if you line up your paper to the top, you're going to see the top of it, so you don't have to be as accurate. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put a little strip of glue right here, and you're going to try not to go into the folds. And then you're going to take your piece of paper, and you can see the front and the top, and I didn't get enough tape here. Then you're going to line up your paper right in the fold, not over the fold, but right in the fold, and then press on this side, and then you can see over here you're going to do the same thing. Then you're going to line it, and I'm doing this quicker than you'll be doing it when you're actually doing it. And I put the glue there, and then we'll line up the piece here on the top, and it's right to the top, and then you'll just kind of bring it over on top, and then you'll line it right up over the glue. Then you'll continue to do that on each of the pieces. And I'll move this out and bring in the swap out that I've done. Now here is the front, and the reason that you can tell the front is it has that extra little flap. The back just has one flap in the back. What I did after I did all of the inserts is I took it and put it under a couple of books just to let it lay flat, and it'll be a little easier to work with. This is the Wonder Tape that I've used on the front. Once again, I'll show you that's the front, and then this is the back. You'll bring in your box, and you'll put your back on first. What you're going to do, make sure this is in camera here, is you're going to position it right up against this first fold line. And it's going to be about between 1/8 and 1/16 of an inch on this side, and also on the other side. Let me put the one piece down, and then I'll show you. What I'm going to do is I'm just lining it up about 1/8 of an inch, or well, actually this is about 1/16 of an inch right along the fold, and I'll show you. And you just want to get a good firm grip there. And this is where it depends on if you've pressed it or how your material is laying. In some cases it may look like it goes over the fold, over the other side here. In other cases it'll look like it's under. What you're going to do is I just will pull off my tape, and mine looks like it might be just a little bit over, so I'm going to line it up on the fold, which you can see down here, and then I'm going to do it about 1/16 of an inch, and you can see it'll be right in the fold. And then what you will do, I'll show you, you will take the tape off and then line it up 1/16 of an inch from the front, and it'll be taped down. And I will show you on the final one. Here it is, where we have lined it up and about 1/16 of an inch there and there, and it's cool. The next step is to put on your magnet, and I use a basic gray thin magnet. They're very strong and they have a tendency to separate, so I punched a little piece of paper and put a glue dot there to sort of weaken the magnet. Also on the front you have a flower made out of the George cartridge, and I did a blackout 3, and this one is 3 3/4, and this one is 3 1/8 cuddlebugged and with Swiss dots. And I put dimensionals in between all of them, and your box is finished. Now I know it seems like we went rather quickly, so check out my blog at www.paperboutique.blogspot.com, and I have a list of all of the measurements. I want to thank you for watching today, and please, like I said earlier, check out my blog, and there will be other videos available and projects. Bye-bye.